You are listening to the Body Charge podcast, and I'm your host, Sandy Sanderson. Welcome to the Body Charge podcast. Today's topic is technology for support of individual freedom as well as community. Technology can be an angel or a demon, depending on whether it supports human personal growth, happiness, and prosperity, or whether it is used for criminal activity or excessive overreach in government totalitarian control. For self-empowerment, people need personal freedom, which means we need tools to be free within the environment we live in and to connect safely with other like-minded people for trade and commerce, relationship building, mental health, and community support. Freedom allows us to be creative and happy. Entrapment and parasitic top-down control causes depression, excessive stress, causing magnesium deficiency and other health issues, and so on into a downward spiral. But my special guest today is technology entrepreneur McHugh. He is the president of ShopX, Web3 e-commerce, and co-founder of Chief Growth Officer of Data Ing, an AI-powered matchmaking platform. In the past, he founded a SaaS platform that replaced affiliate codes for e-commerce brands, worked as a constant for Fortune 500 companies, helped Snap optimize their ad algorithm, and supported the research team at Carnegie Mellon University in their dark matter research. Sounds so fascinating. I'm really happy to have you on board. Thank you for coming on the Body Charge podcast. My first question for you is, what is Web3 and why is it different?
Sure. And honestly, thank you so much for having me. I'm blessed to be here and I love what you just said. But in terms of Web3, I think it's important to go back to Web 1 versus Web 2, and then we can see what Web3 is and why it matters. So in Web 1, I want you to think of read only. So in Web 1, we could go online, we could read stuff online, which is fantastic. Web 2, let's frame it as social media. So you can read and you can write. So let's use Instagram as an example. I can write content, so I can create a post, and then you as a friend, follower, whomever, you can read my content. So you can view it, you can interact with it, you can like it, you can do what you will. The only issue is we don't own the content. So if we don't own the content, Instagram can sell our data for nefarious purposes. They can go back and retroactively cancel you for whatever reason they want. Like, let's say, for example, we say something on this podcast, it doesn't fly 10 years down the line.
They can censor it.
They can censor us both. And if it's a link to our bank accounts, they can censor that as well.
Wow.
So in Web3, it's read, write, and own. So not only can we write content and read content, but we own the content. And that vehicle is either cryptocurrency or NFT. So let's say hypothetically, I write myself an NFT collection. I gift you an NFT, you purchase it, somehow gets in your hands. Now there's a connection between me and you, and no third parties can interfere. So my area of expertise is e-commerce. So if I'm a brand, I can write an NFT, you can own that NFT. I can add e-commerce value to your NFT in the forms of products, discounts, and real life events. And the cool thing is, since you own the NFT, I can't take it from you, even though I created it. The government can't take it from you. Amazon or Instagram can't take it from you. It's your NFT to do what you will with it.
Wow, this must be a big boon for any creator, artist, musician, anyone that creates something from nothing, and it becomes popular and valuable. So when they own it, they can keep their value, and that's a great concept. So it's a good concept, not losing it or thieves stealing it legally. I mean, sometimes, nefarious organizations can do something which isn't technically illegal, but, it's not right, is it?
Yeah, no, and if you want to take this a bit further, let's say you're an artist, you're a musician, you're a sports star. There's a lot of predatory practices in terms of like agencies and just big companies like Ticketmaster taking 20 to 30% off what you've earned. But in this practice, the NFT creates a bilateral stream of value between the creator and the consumer, thus eliminating the need for renting a middleman. So if you're an artist, I'm your fan, I go to your first show because I'm like, hey, I'm here to support. There's a connection between me and you. 20 years down the line, you're front stage Coachella. It's like, okay, these are my original fans. They were supporting me from day one. I can give you guys tickets. I can give you guys backstage passes. I can give you guys autographed merch because the relationship was formed between us and just us.
Wow. And I think that must allow for a lot more deeper relationship building, more integrity. You know who your customers are, and they know more about you as a supplier of whatever you supply, and the integrity involved. And your word is your bond, and the promises you're making in your ads and your promotions, are they real or are they just generated by corporate AI? The human element seems to me an important factor in this Web3, that it enables it to be first and foremost at the front in importance and relevance.
Yeah, no, the human factor is obviously really important. And I think that's something that's been a pet peeve of mine with this flood of AI content. Because I'm like, because I believe in energy, frequency, vibration. So I think every piece of work of art, every beautiful, like if you look at a beautiful building, it's like, oh, this is nice because it's a high frequency. If you look at a beautiful piece of art, it's high frequency. And the problem with AI generated content and copy is I think people can pick up when something's not real or when it's fake or when there's no heart in it. And with this flood of AI content, it's like, okay, a lot of the stuff is fake right now. And we've seen brands with the NFT, and is exactly like what you said. They were able to identify their super fans, like their core customers who love the brand. They creates then a deeper relationship with those core customers. And as a matter of fact, like one of our first launches was with a company called the Mag Park, and he's a good guy. Like it's not like a corporate store; it's like a hometown shop in LA. He has a basketball hoop in like his store, so the kids come and play. It's like he's like a homie type of thing. So with his NFT collection, he's able to create like a three-tier collection, and there's a special place in his Discord channel for his pink Mocha holders, which are his OG customers. And they talk with him. They banter back and forth. They just talk about it. They just joke around. Like they help with design. He's talking to them. He's really just incorporating their opinion, and they get extra. They get special like e-commerce rewards. They get to go to in real life events. They get to meet the guy. It's a good scene.
It feels a lot more personal, doesn't it?
Yes,
Yes.
I think that's the point because NFTs and I think they're an excellent community building tool, and I think community is something that unfortunately in this world today, I think human relationships, I think they're bound to improve, but I think right now there's a lot of room for improvement in terms of real communities, real relationships, and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, I think a human being needs community, needs relationship with others, and the disconnect or the isolation of a human being determines the degree of disease that progresses, because when we don't feel connected, everything in the body starts to break down, because we're electrical beings and we connect with other people, I think, electrically. That's why when you're face to face or you're talking to someone directly, you can feel that energy in that space. And, without even words, people have an influence on one another, but good or bad. You can have, so individuals that are, let's call them, with a certain mental illness, maybe psychopaths, or someone who is very disconnected from humanity, um, doing bad things, they need to do it under a disguise, don't they? They need to pretend to be somebody else. And you look at the pedophilia issue on the planet, they have to do it in darkness where no one can see, and they have to pretend to be somebody friendly and nice, and everything is so fake. So if we can get a more degree of honesty in how we communicate on the planet with other people, I think it would bring people together. Not so much war and contempt, and the fear mongering is all about what you don't know and the monsters that are created in your mind. When you get to know people on the other side of the planet, they're just people. They're
Yeah,
real people like
I,
you.
I think honestly, and I have an interesting point on this, and I think everyone is just genuinely trying to do their best. Most people are friendly. Most people are just trying to live their lives. So I read everything in terms of like energy, frequency, and vibration. So like there's a scale. So like if when you say you're sad, you're just saying I vibrate at this frequency. When you're saying you're happy, you vibrate at this frequency, all that stuff. So shame is the lowest. So that shame would be 30, and anger, fear, hate, all those strong emotions, they vibrate at roughly below 200. And in that range, that's when the people are most easily controlled. So that's why if you log into social media, if you log on to news, that's why fear is always being pushed. Anger is like hate is always being pushed, even though I don't think there's that much out there in the world. It's because when someone's scared, they're easy to control. I think COVID was a prime example of that. The good news is when you're above 200, that's when you're giving energy to people. Below 200, you're taking energy. So like when I think positive and negative energy are both contagious. Like when you're around a negative person, it's kind
Yep.
of sticky. And but
Yeah.
same time, when you're around a positive person, it's like, oh, that was great. So I think as a collective, we just recently passed over 200. So I think things are going to get better rather than worse going forward, despite what's being pushed so aggressively.
Yes, we need to be more discerning and we need to believe that we can do this. Because when you look at the world, it seems like sometimes, oh, it's problems are too big because what am I going to do as one individual person? But, that's where it really happens. Individual by individual, taking back their power by believing that they can make a difference just by their own little circle of influence. And then that's, as you said, catchy. That catches on to the person next to them and whoever they interact with. And then we are buoyed, we are lifted by what we see in other people that's working and that's working well. And that encourages us and gives us hope that we can do it too. So this connection with other humanity is really important in a protected environment, in a safe environment where we're not dealing with fakes and where we can be discerning. So it's really interesting that you've also developed a data in program, so a dating agency app, because my son, who's finding it difficult to find a girlfriend who is like-minded, because he's joined the other standard dating apps, and half of them are AI.
Yeah, it's bot city. There's so many
Yeah,
bots.
yeah, it's not working. Like I'm 65 and in the days where I was, out looking for a mate, it would all be face to face. It would be in groups in, meetup environments, social environments, social get-togethers. And you got a chance to really get to know that person before even a thought would creep in. Oh, well, like, he's good looking or she's, pretty attractive. It sometimes we can just flick past a picture too quickly and we don't really get the real person behind that face until we get a chance to talk to them and meet them and really get to know who they are. So this is a problem I see with the standard dating apps. So how is yours different?
Oh, so it's I would say it's the opposite of Tinder. So I think you hit the nail on the head. Dating apps have three big, I mean, they have tons of problems, but they have three big ones I like to go over. So the first one is the top 5% of the users get access to pretty much everyone on the app. And this creates a very skewed marketplace. The second problem is let's be real, it's a superficial app. It's like hot or not. Are they attractive? Yes. Are they not attractive? No. No one really goes into the profile. And like you said, the profile can be easy faked, it can be bots. The third issue actually lies with the incentives of the app. So all the apps like Tinder, like they're all owned by Match.com. So whenever a dating app reaches around $1 million, big match comes in, they try to buy them out. So this creates a monopoly in the space. And just think about it logically. If Tinder were to match a happy couple, that happy couple then goes off Tinder. Tinder then loses a paying customer, matches shareholders lose a paying customer. So this is why, so what they rely on is something called churn marketing. So they need people just coming back and forth. So this is why people often delete the app, download the app again, delete the app, download the app again, delete the app, download the app again. So dating is the opposite of that. So what we would do,
So
and
the
this helps
incentive needs to be in happy endings, right?
correct. So dating is the opposite of that. So what we would do is we'd auto-generate a profile for you based on your digital footprint and then give you matches based on their digital footprint with the goal of putting users in the position to succeed. Because I agree, I think for a date to actually like it has to go offline at some point. Like you can't just talk all day online. You have to meet them face to face. You have to
Yeah.
feel their energy, you have to feel their vibe. but we want to put them in the position to succeed from that. So let's say hypothetically, I get three matches: Ashley, Kimberly, Jane. I'm like, okay, Jane seems cool. Tell me more. Oh, she's the youngest in her family. You're the oldest. You may get together, or that may work. Oh, she's into national parks based on her Instagram. Oh, she went to Ford University based on her LinkedIn. Oh, she follows this person on Pinterest that you also like. Oh, did you know Jane and you both follow this one obscure artist on Spotify? Oh, did you know this artist has a concert coming up in a month? Would you like me to suggest that date with Jane? It suggests the date with Jane. We get together in real life and hopefully it goes well. But the cool thing is, let's say it didn't mention that the Spotify thing, but that's still in the background and it still made the match based on that. So that could come up organically with me and Jane. So it's putting the users in the position to succeed. And the cool thing is, I think everyone's into different things. Like you can't put everyone in the box. Like some people like the opposite, some people like the same, some people like literally everything in between. So it's probably going to start off showing with like, okay, similar matches. But let's say I say no, 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 no. Cupid will get, hey, it's getting smart. This person doesn't like the same type person. Let's try the opposite. And then it would judge from there. So it's the opposite of Tinder in the sense the longer you're on Tinder, the more likely you're going to stay on Tinder. For us, the
Because
long you're on
oh,
the app, the smarter it gets. So the more likely you are to match with
it's
someone.
learning, it's learning.
Yeah.
Because, opposites attract. Sometimes you look at couples and you go, well, how can they be together? But, they have a really good relationship. And others are a little bit more like each other. So, it can happen both ways. So how do you actually design an algorithm that covers all those bases?
It's just a learning experience. So the longer, like when it first launches, right now we're in the beta phase, in the sense we built out the app with test data. So it's at its core, AI is basically pattern recognition. So
Yep.
whatever the most people want, that's what it'll do at first. But then it'll switch up and it'll learn based on the individual desire. So it'll have a base algorithm and then it'll branch off on each individual use case and then take it from there. But that's gonna be a fun thing to do. The more people we have on that, the more people interactions, the better it'll get.
So does it also learn on a broad population basis, like statistically? Statistically, these kinds of matches have worked better than others. Does it learn, um, from a population basis, like a
It'll
whole
be
bunch of people?
it'll be able to do that, and then from there it can function as a dating coach as well. So let's say hypothetically the Jane and I example work out. It could be like, okay, you guys haven't been out of the house in 3 months. May I suggest this date? The place you went, the place like you have kids. It's like the place
Get
we
a bunch
recommend
of
this.
flowers, go out to dinner,
Yeah. Oh,
coaching.
yeah. Oh, your wife just added this cool jewelry thing on Pinterest. It's her birthday coming up soon. Dude, don't mess this up. Here's a softball type of thing.
Oh,
So
that's nice.
yeah,
Introducing a bit of humor sounds like a good idea as well. Makes it a bit more fun, doesn't it?
it always does. Humor is always good.
So, what about the security of a woman, for instance, and she goes out on a date, and this fellow's been pretending to be someone he's not, and then has nefarious things in mind, and then she's not safe in that environment when they date. Um, how does a woman protect herself from, like in business, know your customer, know your supplier? There's a big emphasis on authenticity, and yeah, not being fake. How do you overcome that with your program?
Yeah, so I think, and we do our best to help with that. But in the end, I think everyone has to practice discernment. She has to be able to tell this person's not being authentic. But that being said, we're trying to do our best to do that. So we are way better than normal dating apps. For example, Tinder, I can create a profile from like a 6'5" blonde guy, just pull six photos from the
Yeah,
internet and
yeah.
just completely make that up. With our dating
You see
service,
it all the time on Facebook.
yeah, yeah, with our dating
Stolen
service,
photos.
since we pull from so many different sources, it's harder to fake that as well. And on top of that, with our dating service, we're gonna have the option for like a in-app call or a VR date too. And we also have a karma system in place. So like if someone's behaving well, let's say someone's polite, they're going on dates, people like them, they're interacting, they're not being rude or anything. They get a higher karma score. While if someone's fake, well, they would get booted. But if someone's like being rude, they're ghosting, they're not respecting other people in the ecosystem, they get a lower karma score. So the higher karma scores will match, the lower karma scores won't match. And of course, since we are pulling all their social since we are pulling all the social media, and like you mentioned earlier, when you were going out, you kind of know the people who you're going out with. Okay, it's like, okay, this guy, I know her sister, like a friend of a friend, her sister. So
It's
like,
like they're verified.
yeah, so we can verify that with the group. So if they are going out with a guy, they should be able to see like, okay, I've never met him before, but my brother's friend is friends with him on Facebook.
Yeah.
Can you ensure that so you can social map? So can you ensure that he's like a real person and not that? So we provide, I would say, because I've
Just
seen
with a
my,
fake identity. Yeah.
yeah. So we want to help because I know girls love their detective work. We want to help with the sleuthing that happens with us. So they want to learn more about the date and just kind of confirm that he's safe, confirm he has a real job, confirm all that. We want to put them in the position to do so because I think safety, honestly, safety and comfort are probably are very important.
It's very important also for kids who are surfing online. You know,
Yeah.
they're also very vulnerable to predators. So the Web3 platform sounds like a pretty good thing for our future. How do you see it integrating with what we already have? How will it start to be the more dominant thing available?
So when it's fully available, we'll all be using it in the background and no one will know that you're using it. So you'll be able to take out your phone, tap your phone, claim an e-commerce benefit, and move on with your merry day. Right now, where it's not very adopted for two main reasons. The first is incentive. So, for example, there's no real incentive for most people to interact with the crypto or Web3 space. ShopX is trying to help that because we're offering e-commerce incentives with NFTs to help people on board into the technology. And once they're on board, it's a 0 to 1 situation where they can learn at their will. The second issue is user interface. So, like, I wouldn't send my mother and my grandmother to a Web3 platform just because it's kind of clunky. It doesn't work. There's a big technical gap that you have to learn. But that's where the beauty of Web3 is. So Web3 is composable, meaning it functions off the compound interest of software. So like you solve a problem once, you build off of that. So where we're at in Web3 right now is like the major brands like Nike, NBA, Sephora, like all the major brands, they dip their toes in the water, but they haven't jumped all in. Like for example, when Nike goes all in, they have the incentive, but more importantly, the resources to make a seamless customer experience for their customers. Like Nike's not going to send their customers to a terrible customer experience. Once Nike gets in,
That's right.
the rest of the space knows how. They build off of that. And on top of that, once Nike gets in, like Reebok, Adidas, they all have to get in. So it's gonna be a gradually then suddenly type movement. And then after that suddenly movement, it all just evens out and it's just in the background.
Yeah. So for the average everyday person, they just need to slip in there and not much changes with how they got used to using the internet and various programs. There'll be a similar way to operate it because everything's going on technically in the background. They don't need to know about.
Exactly. And if it doesn't go that way, it won't succeed, to be honest.
Yes, it has to be user friendly. Everything we make and do, every product we sell really has to be the most user friendly it can be. And that's a key to success. Ease and convenience, because we supply Elektra Magnesium products. I created it,
Ooh.
the business in 2009 because it's a transdermal way of absorbing magnesium, which is easier because you don't have to digest anything and it goes in very quickly. And so the element of ease, convenience, efficacy, everything came together, plus it's all natural with no chemicals, seemed to tick all the boxes. And it's been working really, really well. But if we were to have done something which is complex and takes too much time and effort, even, soaking in magnesium and having baths and foot soaks, initially people are very enthusiastic and they put the work and time and effort in, they get a bit lazy or busy and they just let it go and then you don't get your daily magnesium. So making it convenient is like essential, isn't it?
Oh, so I love magnesium. So I take it in the pill form as your product. So it's like a patch or something. How does that work?
It's a cream, a lotion, or a spray. So they're
Oh,
different strengths depending on what you need, and everything from every age, from babies to elderly. So it all depends on skin type. So basically, the thinner or more fragile or sensitive the skin, the more fat you need
oh,
wrapped up with that magnesium. If you have a sweaty, oily thicker skin, then you could probably get away with just spraying the magnesium on because your own body produces enough oils and fats. And then there's a whole lot of shades of spectrum in between of different skin types, different oil levels, different ages. And because you need the fats for absorption because the skin is lipophilic, so it loves the fats. And the byproduct is you get great skin as well.
Nice.
It's anti-aging in a
Yeah.
natural way.
That's awesome. I
Yes.
love that. I love that project. That's really cool that you built it. I'm sure it adds great value to all your customers. Because
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to, Web3 becoming bigger, and we then can offer a better level of, security when people are shopping, and ease of use is always important. Yeah, it's a matter of getting out products into the world. We're only a little company, but we reach all over the world. We have customers everywhere, thanks to the internet.
yeah.
And customer reviews, they
Oh yeah.
help a lot. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But thank you very much for that little insight into what's coming. And, I think it makes people very hopeful the good things are happening too, not all the time the bad news.
Yeah, this is a bombardment, but honestly, thank you so much for having me. I truly do appreciate it. I'm grateful.
So when people want to find out more, where should they go to connect with you or see what you do?
So the best, if you're interested in Web3 e-commerce, the best place will be shopx.co, shopx.co. If you're interested in the AI-powered matchmaker, it'd be dataing.io, so dataing.io. And if you just want to talk, because my overall intention is to be as helpful as possible. So if any question, just want to talk, just shoot me a DM on Instagram, Eric D. McHugh, EricDMchugh.
Excellent. We'll also put that at the bottom of the YouTube text under the video. And yeah, so you have a great day, and I'm looking forward to another conversation in the future with an update on what you're doing.
Likewise, and honestly, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I hope you liked this conversation and will share it with others. Hear more from Body Charge on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to our newsletter to get updates on blogs, podcasts, videos, and magnesium special offers at elektramagnesium.com.au. Relax, recharge, and recover.